Hi everyone, my name is Chloe. I asked part of the class if they could crochet, and not to my surprise, no one did. Well, after hearing this speech, you will have a chance to learn more about this craft. I am no expert, but I taught myself and had some success. I know enough to share how you can do this great craft. Today, I will tell you all about the craft of crochet. I'll do this by telling you about the equipment, the terminology, and some things you should know. And finally, I will demonstrate the basic way to crochet. Here, I will tell you what you need to crochet. There are not many things you need to know. All you need is some yarn in the color of your choice, a crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and time. Now that you know what you need, I will discuss the terminology and some things you should know. The terminology mainly refers to the parts of your creation. Like the tail is this part here. This is where you start the project. And then these are the stitches. They're the individual hoops that you make to create this craft. Now, when it comes to the size of the hook, there are a few things you need to take into consideration. The first thing is, what size does it say on the package of yarn to use? You don't want to use, and then it also depends on the knit, size of the knit you want, like how loose. You don't want the hook to be too much smaller than what the yarn says, because the smaller the hook, the harder it is to loop it through. For example, if you have a thing of yarn that says to use a 5.5 millimeter, but you only have a 3.5 and a 5 millimeter, you would want to use the 5 millimeter. Now, using the too small of hooks is only one side. You can also use too big of hooks. But then again, it all depends on the packaging and how loose you want your knit to be. Now, I'll demonstrate how to crochet. You want to start with a simple loop. Now, I'm going to move my screen down so you can have a better view. Now, you take your yarn, grab the tail end, and you want to make a hoop. Now, take the yarn that is connected to the ball and pull it through. This is your starter. Now, you take your hook and you put it through your loop and tighten it just a little bit. Now, here's where you start counting. You can do a simple motion with this part. You don't want to you want to keep the tail out of the way. So I recommend holding it back so you don't confuse it with the part that is attached to the yarn. Now you take your yarn and you loop it around and you pull through. That is your first stitch. And then you do it again. 2, 3, and it's okay if you mess up like that. You just undo, put it back, and we're on 3 still. So 1, 2, 3. Now you just keep going. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now here you want, if you want it to be at 10, you want to add one more loop than you want. You do this so then the length stays the same, so it doesn't taper to a point. And then you go back to the loop before and you loop it through. Now I'm going to stop here and I will continue to show you how to swap out your yarn from one color to the next. Okay, so I worked a bit and got this far. Now we're going to swap yarn to black. And to do this, I'm gonna basically be simulating what it's like to swap yarn. Either swap it or the end of one. So the yarn on the knit, I'm gonna take and I'm just going to cut. Now from here, I'm gonna take the end of the black yarn. I'm gonna line them up. And I'm gonna go through the next. And now this is a little difficult. You want to loop it, but you don't want there to be a tail on the black. And then you pull it through. So it's like this. And then you go through and you wrap it around again and you pull it through. And then go through this again. Then this, you're at a singular and you pull it through. Now I'm going to pause and show you how to end a project. Okay, now this is how you end it. This is the last stitch. You do the last stitch like normal, but you take your scissors and you cut it and you just pull it through so you create another tail. Pull it a bit, and that is how you crochet. Today, I told you about the craft of crochet. I told you about the equipment, the terminology, and things you should know. And finally, showed you the basic way to crochet. Now you all hopefully know more about the wonderful craft of crochet.